Your news for the state of Tennessee in 10 minutes. Tennessee in 10 is made possible by Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Amanda Hara. In just a few hours, the state of Tennessee is set to carry out its first execution in more than 5 years. Oscar Smith was convicted in 1989 for killing his estranged wife and her 2 teenage sons. The 73-year-old has long maintained his innocence. There have been legal challenges to the state's revised lethal injection protocol, but the governor has denied a request to pause executions.
The Department of Justice is dropping its investigation into the Memphis Police Department and several other cities, even retracting its findings. The investigation started in 2023, months after Tyree Nichols was beaten following a traffic stop. At issue were complaints of improper searches, traffic stops, and discrimination against black people. Memphis Mayor Paul Young says despite the investigation being dropped, changes within the department continue.
65 more books won't be in libraries in Knox County schools. That brings the total number of banned books in the school district to 113. Last July, Knox County's Board of Education passed a policy to remove explicit books from everyday student access in response to Tennessee's new Age-Appropriate Materials Act. State legislators say removing the books is all about keeping parents' voices heard across state school districts, giving them more power to opt their kids out of instruction that's not in line with their values.
A mysterious discovery in West Tennessee has authorities trying to figure out how a prisoner's uniform wound up in a shed behind someone's home. This happened in Bells in Crockett County. The sheriff's office says the homeowner found the uniform and called authorities. But the thing is, sheriff's office says that the uniform doesn't belong to their jail, and there have been no known escapees from the Tennessee Department of Corrections custody. Investigators are looking into how the uniform got onto the property. A Putnam County inmate is back in jail this morning after escaping from a hospital in Cookeville. Now the sheriff's office is looking into how she was able to walk away and if anyone helped her. Gladys Melton was staying in a medical pod getting treatment for stroke-like symptoms. She was taken to Cookeville Regional Hospital but walked off while waiting for treatment. The sheriff's office says Melton got a ride to a church, and it was the staff who encouraged her to turn herself into police.
Communities in East Tennessee are still cleaning up after at least 2 tornadoes blew through earlier this week. The National Weather Service stopped in Oliver Springs to assess the damage there. They're telling us they likely saw an EF0 or an EF1 tornado. Officials with the Weather Service tell us the tornado brought wind speeds around 100 miles per hour. The tornado was around 100 yards wide and tracked along Old Harriman Highway between Blair Road and Whaley Road for about half a mile. And then a second tornado touched down in Cumberland County. The National Weather Service reports winds were 105 miles per hour, raking the ground for nearly 5 miles there. Some people experiencing damage in the Big Lick community. One couple lost the roof on their home and their carport. Several buildings were also destroyed, including a barn owned by a company called Hay Hay Farms. In the WVLT newsroom, I'm Whitney Turner. Back to you.
First Alert meteorologist Stefano DiPietro is here with a look at the forecast where you live, and keeping an eye on the weekend as well.
We certainly are, Amanda. As more rain is expected and thunderstorms heading into the holiday weekend, we are dry through the rest of today, though. Temperatures will be in the 70s, maybe end up near 80 out in parts of West Tennessee with good sunshine, a few fair weather clouds mixing in. Might be a little drizzle overnight tonight. Many of us dry, though. 50s and even the 40s potentially in some of the higher elevations, maybe out toward the Smokies by tomorrow morning. In the afternoon, we're mixing in a few fair weather clouds. Still looks nice, though, if you have any travel plans for tomorrow. Weather looks to cooperate with us through the afternoon into the evening. Now, by Saturday, here comes some showers and maybe a rumble of thunder. Best areas for that, the farther south and west that we live. So for those of us out toward East Tennessee, it does look like things are going to stay dry. Saturday, Middle Tennessee will kind of split the gap along the I-24 corridor. West Tennessee will be dealing with more rain and some thunderstorms, but again, no severe weather threat. More rain builds in on Sunday. We'll end up with about 2 to 3 inches of rainfall across the state between the rain Saturday, Sunday into Memorial Day on Monday. This is where we could really run into some travel impacts as we start off next week.
The fire, which destroyed the historic Clayborn Temple in Memphis, has been ruled as arson. Memphis police say they're looking for a person seen walking past the church early that morning. The historic building, which was the jumping point of the 1968 sanitation strike, was undergoing a multi-million-dollar renovation.
Tennessee has officially joined 26 other states banning Glock switches. The governor just signed off on the new law. The devices can make regular semi-automatic firearms fire like machine guns. Lawmakers passed the bill 7 years after the Antioch Waffle House shooting. 4 people were killed when a gunman opened fire with an AR-15.
Well, Airbnb says they blocked around 160 bookings in Memphis just last year as they cracked down on problematic bookings. It's part of a system to keep people from making bookings for parties or other events or other hard to control events, I should say. While the system's details aren't public, Airbnb says it flags certain types of bookings. They say those types of bookings tend to pick up around the summer holidays. From the Action News 5 newsroom, I'm Sydney Gray.
Don't be afraid to call for help. That's the message from a police chief in Middle Tennessee. Leverne's chief says that a child died earlier this month. The chief says the caregiver may have been afraid to call for help when that 6-month-old became unresponsive. Chief Christopher Mays called a town hall meeting saying that fear may have stemmed from recent ICE operations where almost 200 people were arrested. He says a 6-month-old baby died after they were found unresponsive and that the caretaker didn't immediately call 911, potentially because of his legal status.
We'll never know if we could have saved that child's life.
That fear is real. The fear of arrest and the fear of deportation is real.
I know that there are communities in Leverne that are losing trust in law enforcement in this country right now, and it's going to make our job that much more difficult.
He says his department is right now working with Tennessee Highway Patrol on a traffic enforcement effort. It was planned before THP's joint operation with ICE. He says the traffic stops do not involve ICE. What are the odds that 3 young orphan bear cubs will survive on their own? That's the question a lot of people are asking after TWRA shared this video of agents releasing the cubs into the wild. A wildlife biologist who once worked for TWRA and the Appalachian Bear Rescue is sharing his expert opinion on this. I dug into this from the WSMV4 streaming news desk yesterday. Daryl Radijak says the cubs' chances of survival would be a whole lot better if they were older and bigger. He says predators like bobcats, coyotes, and raccoons are concerns, but that studies show that cubs are just a little bit older than this. They know what to eat and can survive without their mother's milk. We are learning a lot more today about this very delicate dance between Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency and Appalachian Bear Rescue. These are 2 agencies that need each other, but they may not see eye to eye on one particular issue, and that could be why we saw these bears get released into the wild instead of going to Appalachian Bear Rescues. People are also asking us, why not try to place the cubs with, if not Appalachian Bear Rescue, a bear rescue in a neighboring state, or try to place the cubs with a surrogate? We have the answers to all of those questions. Just look for this story in the WSMV4 News app or on any major streaming platform like Roku. Thanks for watching Tennessee in 10.